If we've learned anything from Wild West's Tales from Tiger Town, it is that super coach Madge Maguire does have a little bit of a potty mouth. There's plenty going on in
earmuffs.
Yeah,
Beep, beep, beep.
earmuffs indeed. What is going on now? This game against the Bulldogs, Brent Read, how important is it in terms of what happens to this club and to the coach for next season?
Well, I wouldn't say it's defining, but there will be a review of the club in the off-season, I expect, over the next month, a review of the football department. And out of that, there'll be a decision made on Michael Maguire and whether he remains as head coach beyond this year. Now, he's got 2 years left on his contract, but it's been pretty well documented in the past that there's a payout sort of stipulation in that, so they wouldn't have to pay him the full 2 years. But, I'd expect a decision in the next 4 weeks or so. And, I wouldn't say this game's defining, but gee whiz, if they lose it, it doesn't look good, does it? They've got over $1 million in their salary cap for next year. They haven't spent yet. They're desperate to spend and try and bring in some quality. But until they have a decision on the coach and who is going to coach the side next year, it's folly to go and spend that. They've got a guy like Jimmy Roberts, who I think Madge wants to keep, but the club's in no rush to do that because they've got to make some big decisions in the next 4 weeks. So, as I said, I think tomorrow's, I wouldn't say it's the be-all and end-all, but, if they go out and lose tomorrow, they finish 13th. They've made no progress in 3 years under Madge. It's been well documented. I love Michael Maguire. I think he's a great coach, and I've got a good relationship with him. But if they finish 13th, and as much as I believe he's a great coach, it's hard to see how they can keep him.
That'd be the lowest he's as a person, as a coach too. Yeah.
And this is his squad. Let's make it clear.
Yeah,
I think
that's right. And if we put that aside, we've most blokes in the media seem to be fond of Madge. And we've spoken to him a few times on my show through the week, the rush hour, and fantastic. But we've got to put that aside for a second, look at the results. We've got to look at why no player on the open market wants to go there. And we've got to look at why there's disharmony, why Luke Brooks was on the outer for so long, and now they want to keep him because Dewey's injured next year. And all these little tangibles add up to a massive problem. And I believe if they get beat by the Dogs tomorrow, well, I don't think we'll see Madge as coach of the next year. I think that'll be the final straw. If not already. I know they're doing internal investigation, a review at the moment, Reedy, as you just say. And but there's a reason why, and I know they're doing great financially as far as the corporates go with Pasco and the like, but there's a reason that players don't want to go there. And players talk amongst themselves in camps, in the All-Star camps, and they speak with each other at Origin, and all these players talk, and they live in the same town. They go, well, there's a reason that players aren't going to the Tigers, and until we find that out, is it the coach? Has Madge got that reputation of being a hard ass too much? Is it, I don't know. I don't know because I'm not in that inner sanctum as far as the players go, but obviously there's word out there, Gerds, that there's something to do with, it has something to do with Madge.
Well, how long's Madge been there for now?
3 years. This is 3 years.
Who's the biggest recruit, the highest profile recruit that they've had in that time? James Tarmow?
Probably,
yeah. Dewey. Well, probably Dewey.
I mean, they've had a shot at a lot of guys, right? Latrell, Finucane.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair to them, in many of those cases, like in the Dale Finucane case, that gets thrown up as a player they didn't sign. But they only offered Dale 3 years. Cronulla offered him 4.
Yep.
So Dale was always going to take the 4 years. And that's the case with several of the guys that people say they missed out on.
Yep.
They actually missed out on them because other clubs offered them more attractive deals.
Yeah, not the case with Latrell.
No, not the case with Latrell. But I think Latrell always wanted to go to South.
Sure.
But there's certainly an issue there with the club not being able to sign big names.
Because that's what holds them back.
But I don't know, I'm not sure how much of that you can blame on Madge and how much you can blame on just a general perception of the club.
But that's what holds them back, Reedy.
That's probably reflective of the coach to an extent as well.
I think it's like you look at Canberra. It's all every club is defined by their coach. Every club is defined by their coach because a player, when they're on the open market, they weigh it up. Okay, well, am I going to go to Melbourne with Craig Bellamy, or I'm going to go to Canberra or the Tigers with Madge or Ricky? I'm going to Melbourne. It's in the stars. You've got to go where the best coach is. And
so the coach, or the fact that the thought that I'm going to have success there, this team is going to be playing finals, all of those things.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, clearly that isn't working at the moment. I mean, Canterbury, it's a team that's down the bottom. Yet they've got a few players who've put their hand up and said they're going to head there. Your Matt and Burtons of the world. In fact, plenty of them.
And the Tigers had to go at Matt
Broncos.
Burton. The Tigers had to go at Matt Burton, and they had to go at Josh Adokar. Now, Josh Adokar actually signed a heads of agreement with the Tigers, and then backed out and went to Canterbury. Burton, I believe, Canterbury obviously won the duel there for Matt Burton over the Tigers. So, there's no doubt they've had an issue signing players. It's all got to go in the melting pot, doesn't it? Timmy Sheens is due to arrive. I think he's tentatively booked to arrive in October to take up that position as head of high performance. But he's keeping abreast of things from afar. He's doing a lot of talking to people around the traps of the Tigers, so he'll play a part in the decision. But it's just difficult. For
the other hard thing, Rudy, is as a player, you kind of want to know. If you're going to a club, you want to know what their identity looks like, what they're trying to be, where they're headed. It's really hard, even after watching the doco and watching them now for the last 4 or 5 years. And you speak about, the Bulldogs' tone, and there's players that are willing to go there. Trent Barrett's basically just had the 1 year, and he's putting together a different roster. So there's reasons. Kevy Walters has only been there for a limited time. He's starting to get some players together. They're headed in a certain direction. Madge has been there for 4 years. Where are the Tigers? Like, where are they going? What are they? What's their style of play? What as a Tigers fan can you turn up to on a weekly basis and go, right, this is kind of what I know, what my team were like at the start of the year. This is where they are now, and this is where they're going to finish. Has there been progress over that period? And you would say when you look at the Tigers run out against the Bulldogs, and I know young Dane Laurie's injured. But in relation to the depth of squad, they got Moses Mbai at the back who's leaving. They got young Madden in at 6. They got Luke Brooks at 7, who, as we just said, we're not sure whether they even want. They got Little at 9. They got Twal at 13. I mean, some of the key positions in that for the Tigers at the moment. And I know Dane Laurie's been a really good signing for him, but he's a young guy that came for an opportunity. They need to start getting some people in those key positions that can start winning them football games, and more importantly, start giving them a north. Because for me, the Tigers, I just don't see what their north looks like.
Is Wild West, the Tales from Tiger Town in this video, is it as a sizzle reel to sell your club? Is it a positive thing? What have you made of it, reading? I mean,
I've enjoyed watching it.
It's
been great to watch, and I applaud the club for allowing that access. In terms of how it's reflected on people within the organisation, I thought early on it reflected really well on Madge. I think as it went on, it probably didn't reflect as well as it did initially. I think we saw a footy club. I think we saw what I think we knew. A group of people who desperately crave success, want to be successful, fans who want to see a club that's successful, people working really hard to get there, and it's just not working. And I think that's been the issue at the Tigers for a long time now, and they've got to sort it out. And I think that's what this off-season's all about.
I think that one of the positive things, just from a viewer's point of view, is that I enjoy, rather than the stuff that's going on in the dressing sheds and the post and pre-games chats with his players, the stuff with Madge in the coach's box. It has been fascinating. He actually has done the narrating of games very well for this doco. He talks it through. He can see when problems are on their way, and there have been a lot.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of trouble coming in terms of drama. Trouble here and trouble resolved, not quite yet. But it's all there, and he talks that through very, very well. So, he's done his job in that regard.
And look, for those Tiger fans listening, there is a ray of sunshine. You've got, as we were speaking about Dane Laurie, Stefano Utogamano, it could be the next Payne Haas.
Yep. Very good.
You've got Sean Bloor from Penrith, who's an up-and-coming back rower who can really play.
Luciano Leilua.
Yeah, Leilua is an Origin player. Jake Simpkin, I think he's going to be a fantastic player. So
Adam Dewey.
It's not all Adam Dewey. It's not all doom and gloom. It's just the fact that I want to know the reasons why these players in particular won't go. Okay, that's maybe because it's an extra year, but maybe it's got to do with something with the players they got. The Reynolds of the world and the other players they signed for long-term contracts who are no longer there. Russell Packer and. Was the other guy from the Warriors they signed on long-term? Madalino. So I think that kind of has scarred them a bit, some players. But all they need is one. Look at the Broncos with Adam Reynolds. All they need is one signing, and then other players will go, okay, well, he's there. I might head there as well when my contract's up.